A little over 10 years now, the end of 2015, Apple released this, the iPhone 6s. It replaced the iPhone 6 in the lineup as Apple's flagship phone, and it brought a ton of new features. Apple's tagline for the iPhone 6s when it came out was, "The only thing that's changed is everything." And while that isn't 100% true, most of the key components of the phone were significantly changed. It had a much faster A9 processor, it had a new 12 megapixel main camera that can record up to 4K, 3D touch, which I'll get into, better Touch ID, better aluminum, and was just a better phone that looked similar but was very different. But since the iPhone 6s is a little over 10 years old now, the question is, how usable really is it in 2026? And yes, I know it came out in 2015, but at this time, 10 years ago, in 2016, it was the current phone, so yeah. This is my iPhone 6s, and it's a silver 6s with 32 gigabytes of storage. In addition to that, I have it downgraded to iOS 9.2.1 thanks to the help of Tertis Marula and A999 Activator. It was originally on iOS 12, but I thought iOS 9 fit it better because it launched with it. And I already have a phone on iOS 12. This discrepancy makes this video slightly different to using the iPhone 6 10 years later, which I came out with last year, as that phone was on its newest supported version. This phone's newest supported version is the latest version of iOS 15, and that's basically fully usable. There's very little that doesn't work on there. Most apps you can't download if you didn't already have them purchased, but if you did, then you can pretty much download and use everything just slowly. So that I didn't think that would be interesting. Being on iOS 9, it's true to what it was like 10 years ago, and it is interesting. To see just how usable this phone was, I've used it on and off for the last couple months to see what you can do, what you can't do, and how nice it is to use today. To put it simply, nearly all Apple services work on this phone except for Mail, Reminders, and iCloud Photos. Apple TV Plus doesn't work and Apple Arcade don't work because they didn't exist back then, but they do work. In addition to iCloud services working, some apps work. I believe Facebook works, Instagram is spotty, it used to work, but not really, and basically any offline game is going to be fine. Things that don't need logins or the internet tend to work. I know the clock app works, the weather app works, you need internet for that, and the calendar will work, and obviously the camera and things like that. Just about every app that does need a login, though, won't work. iOS 9 is too old to get support from those apps anymore, even if you download them. The web browser mostly won't work either. But if you can get around that, I'd say it is pretty usable today. You can't use an Apple Watch on this phone anymore because iOS 9 didn't support any newer watchOS version than watchOS 2. Hypothetically, if you have an Apple Watch running watchOS 1 or 2, then I guess it would work, but you would need an Apple Watch Series 0 or first gen or whatever you want to call it on watchOS 1 or 2. So that won't be common, so good luck getting your hands on an Apple Watch that would work on this phone. iCloud Mail doesn't work for whatever reason. I don't think there's any way to patch it. iCloud Photos doesn't work either, but that's not a huge deal. And iCloud Reminders don't work anymore because that framework needs to be updated onto iOS 13 for it to work. But other than that, I mean, you can get away with using iOS 9. I did mention I downgraded it earlier, and that was a pretty straightforward process. If you do it just through Tertis Marula, you'll have activation issues more often than not. But using A999 Activator, that's A with 3 nines after, using that tool, you can activate it and it will work, except I have some random issues here and there after doing that. Originally, I had my phone on 9.3.5 with Tertis Marula, and everything worked fine, except it wasn't activated. But now on 9.2.1, a couple random things don't work, like the search suggestions and the battery percent. For some reason, I don't know, but things like messages and phone and FaceTime still work, so you can, I assume, throw in a SIM and it'll be fine. And music works from Apple Music, kind of. Most things work, but a lot of songs are grayed out. If you can get around that, you can pretty much listen to anything, and you can throw music onto it from iTunes. Most of Siri still works as well, if you're into that. and pretty much all core Apple things will function except wallet. Yeah, you can't really add cards anymore. Most modern cards don't support it, including my current American Express credit card. But that's really it in terms of apps. Other than that, I think it's a pretty pleasant experience. I don't really think the cameras are that bad. I used my iPhone 17 Pro Max to compare to, as this was the flagship 10 years ago and the 17 Pro Max is a current flagship. And I think that the front cameras are pretty close in quality. The back camera though, I don't know. I feel like it's very different here. The 17 Pro Max has much more vibrant colors while the 6S's are dull and muted. And I feel like a blend of these would be the most accurate. It's not as dull as the 6S, but the 17 Pro Max definitely is a little bit too vibrant. Some of the things the iPhone 6S are known for are 3D touch and being the first iPhone with 4K video capabilities. Now, that means a lot to me because I use an iPhone to record every video I've ever posted. So this video is filmed on an iPhone 17 Pro Max. And I think having the ability to record in 4K is a big part of that, and this was a huge stepping stone in getting there. 3D touch in itself is one of the coolest iPhone features that ever got removed. I love 3D touch. Every time I use this phone, I find it delightful, and it's such a shame that it got removed on the iPhone 11 series. I really loved it when it was there, and I wish that it still was. It was also the last iPhone for a couple of pretty big features. First off is the headphone jack. I know a lot of people hold the headphone jack in very high regards. Personally, I am not one of them, but I do think that it's a shame it got removed, and the iPhone 6S is the last iPhone to include one, unless you count the SE, but that's basically an iPhone 6S. Also not counting the iPhone SE, the iPhone 6S is the last iPhone with a physical home button. The 7, 8, and SE 2 and 3 all used haptic home buttons where they didn't even move. The 6S had a physical one, and it and the SE one were the last phones with it. And while it is a software thing, the iPhone 6S and, well, I guess SE1 are the last phones to include slide to unlock. That got removed in iOS 10, so phones like the iPhone 7, 8, and further did not have slide to unlock. And technically, it still exists with the swipe gesture thing, but it's not the same. It's not the same motion. So I think that the iPhone 6S on iOS 9 is a really enjoyable phone to use today. It's something like a detox phone, where if I don't want to be bombarded with social media and things of that nature, I can just turn this on, put on some music, I can still get text messages if I need to, and that's about it. Even on iOS 15, I don't think that I would daily drive this phone unless I really, really, really had to. Unless you have one and can't get a new phone, it's just not worth it. You can get an iPhone 7 for very cheap. I'm sure they can be found on eBay for $40 or less at this point. An iPhone 7 will be slightly more usable, and even something like an iPhone 8 or a 10. Just the iPhone 6S is at that point where there's no reason to buy one today. Still, I think this phone is really cool, and I really like how easy it is to downgrade. The iPhone 6 cannot be downgraded easily. The iPhone 5S can only go to 10.3.3, which wasn't its launch version. And yes, earlier phones can, but the iPhone 6S and 7 are the newest iPhones that can easily be downgraded. And for someone that likes experiencing them as they came out, I think that's really cool, because it is very hard to come by new condition iPhones with their original software. iOS 9 itself is also pretty cool. I really love the design. I think that it's where Apple somewhat peaked. I love the slide to unlock flat design era, which was only iOS 7 to iOS 9. I love the thin text and the lines, and I just think that it's really great. The music app is my favorite music app that Apple ever shipped, and I'm really happy that some of those design traits are coming back now with more color in iOS 26.4. That's going to do it for this video. I hope you enjoyed this newer, faster paced style. I'm really hoping to make more videos like this. Thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you in the next video. Bye-bye.